Hi there. This is a playthrough of the visual novel of Frost and Flowers. To read the full story, check it out in the link in description. Thank you, and as always, thanks for watching. Oh, hey, did you hear about the execution tomorrow? Yes, the one in Zenhead, it's the one in Zethania's own nights. Wait, yes, one of Zethania's own nights. They've kept the whole thing hush-hush, though. I've heard rumors that it has something to do with the Similia. What are these names? Shh, they're outside. Oh, right. But poor girl, I heard she's a freshly recruited knight, too. What could she have done to deserve this? The death sentence speaks for itself. Whatever she did, put the whole kingdom at risk. Huh. It's just a shame that she has to die so young. Don't worry about it, dear. She must have deserved the punishment. Our kingdom knows what's best for us. Damn, right, right to execution, hell yeah. The execution. Could they be talking about that girl? Yes, I know. I've been involved enough. But that girl, oh dear. The man sighed, rubbing his temples. But I've just helped her escape from But I just helped her escape from the dangerous situation, and now she's getting herself into another mess. Her magenta eyes darted. Who are we talking? Wait, who's talking? Okay, it's like third person, I think. His magenta eyes darted to the city hall, which was going to be an execution scene within a few hours. Should I just attach myself, like what I've always done? But The man gazed at his bony hands, looking as though he had missed a familiar feeling associated with them whenever he clasped his hands. Perhaps there's still something I could do. He turned away, resolve in his eyes, and disappeared within the alley shadows. Okay. Behind the steel bars is Sethania, help me, God. Gold in dark prison, a young woman with charred clothes and bruised skin was pacing to and fro within her cell, angry footsteps echoing throughout the prison. Everyone thinks I'm crazy, but I saw what I saw. A war is brewing, and if they couldn't use me, they will use someone else. I need to find a way out of here and tell the world about their plans. But they're going to execute me instead. What for? For telling the truth? I don't have much time. I need to find a way. I can't die here. The woman grabbed the steel bars and, in a fit of rage, tried to pry them open with her bare hands, but nothing happened. Ugh! Ugh! Like the Hulk. But of course, no matter how much strength she used, the steel bars did not budge. Her shouts, however, were enough to alert the guards and attract them to her cell. It's that crazy girl again. Just ignore her. She's gone mad. Besides, it's not like she's a magic user. Yeah, she wouldn't be able to bend those bars even if she used her life's worth of willpower. They let out a set of jeered laughs. I don't know what she told the commander, but it must be something extremely blasphemous for her to end up in capital punishment. What's her name anyway? She's that crazy ex-knight from the scouting division, right? Yeah. Artida... What? What is that name? Artia. I'm just gonna say Artia. Blue guy. At the mention of her name, a young man stopped in his tracks on his way to the prison's exit. Artia? The stranger briefly glanced at the cell of the young woman was in. He spotted a familiar face, one that he could never forget. But just as he was about to approach her, a guard called him out. Hey you, your visiting time is over. The exit's this way. Right, excuse me. As the man left, Alto noticed a small feather dangling from his right ear. That feather, could it be? No, that's impossible. He would never be here. Alto sighed, letting her back slump against the stone wall. You know that you're out of it when you start hallucinating. But who wouldn't if today was the last day you had in Gaia, 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 hold, I don't give a shit. I haven't even found her yet. That's a dude. And it's raining. The kingdom's city hall was surrounded by armor-clad knights in the gray morning, and all preparations for the young woman's execution had already have been ready since dawn. Alto had been kneeling on the ground since then too, and all the pain she initially felt had been numbed by the piercing cold. Despite the heavy storm, citizens had flocked around the city hall, ready to capture the monumental moment of the knights killing off one of their own. What a pitiful girl. She's so young. That traitor deserves it. Alto could hear each and every one of them talking, all their gossip, their curses, their sympathies. But now the rain has drowned out their voices. The only thing she could thank the rain for. After the crowd had settled, the knight's commander, a man who Alto had once put her faith in, stepped in on the podium to signal her death. The execution of Eltia Revidir shall now commence. The executioner busied himself by polishing his axe, assuring that he would end the girl's life in a single slash. Alto closed her eyes. I guess this is the end, huh? If I knew this is how it would turn out, maybe I should have just stayed back home. And became a regular craftswoman. But I still haven't found you yet. I don't get it. What did I do wrong? I did what I could for the knights, for you, and this is how I'm being rewarded? Gods, if you really govern Gaia, as written in the myths, then why are you letting this happen to me? The commander glared at her now with frigid, relentless eyes. Any last words, traitor? It's hard to believe that those words came out of the same mouth that gave her words of encouragement when she was but a squire. The girl's cracked lips parted, but she was unable to form any words. All she could do was stare at the executioner's merciless eyes and hope that she would at least die a quick and painless death. I'm sorry, Elise. She closed her eyes, knowing that she had done her best and that it would all be over soon. Intruder! Intruder! A sudden bam and a flurry of explosions blasted in the city hall. Citizens gasped and screamed as debris showered them from overhead. Alto opened her eyes just in time to see a hooded figure throwing a vial against the ground. It exploded and let out plumes of gray smoke, obscuring the entire city hall, along with any light source in the vicinity. Panic, stricken shouts, and confused screams ensued in the sight, but before Alto had a chance to react, she felt the ropes binding her wrists loosen. A figure emerged from the mist, extending her hand towards her. Quick, let's get out of here. Alto looked up, and the first feature she saw of her savior was her piercing magenta eyes, or I don't give a shit, her eyes. As if by instinct, Alto took his hand and was pulled back to her feet. The moment they touched, the strange wave of relief flooded her. She was sure she had never met the stranger before, so how was it possible that his hand felt so familiar? Follow me. He pulled her out of the execution site. Silver dust fumed at every corner, blocking Alto's vision, but the stranger's movements were fluid, as if he could see right through the mist of debris. Magic. What was what Alto thought as she let the stranger let her away. Could this person be a magic user? The stranger dashed into the alleyway, turned a sharp corner, and opened an underground hatch.
Get in.
Wait, who are you? Why did you help me? As the mist slowly settled, Alto glimpsed strands of blonde hair peeking out from under his hood. You can literally see everything. It's like completely see-through.
Now's not the time. Go.
Alto had no choice but to follow the stranger's demand. After all, he was his only source of hope for now.
Where did they go?
I don't know. Did we lose them?
Damn it. We can't let her go away. Get away.
Can't get her, let her get away. The Mysterious Savior, Chapter 1. It's so fucking pretty. Look at all these flowers.
Come. Okay.
After they escaped the chaos in the city and ran far into the woods, the man beckoned the girl over to his tent. Alto was initially wary of his intentions, but it was a fact that he had saved her life.
Drink this.
What is it?
It's a medicinal drink. It will restore your energy.
Alto accepted the drink and took a attentive sip from it. She grimaced.
Bitter.
That's what I said. The man chuckled, a sound that startled her.
Pinch your nose and drink it all in one go. It's more bearable that way.
Alto listened to the man. In a few moments, she opened her eyes wide, suddenly refreshed. What herb was that?
It's a type of weed, to be exact. It grows everywhere, but due to its taste, people disregard it as useless.
I see. I'm high as fuck right now. Wait, a weed? Is that a weed? I'm calling the police. I'm 911.
Relax. Just relax. Don't freak out on me. I wouldn't have dragged you this far just to kill you.
Thank you. My name is Alto. What is yours?
Keisha. It's a pleasure to meet you.
Keisha is a very calming person to be around. It's like being with her. I'm in your debt.
There's no need.
But I insist. I mean, you saved my life. He paused, gazing at the tent entrance. There was a sense of contemplation from the man. Before she could question what was wrong, he looked back at her.
Don't worry. I'm just glad you're all right.
Alto wanted to press him for more information. With the tent flaps opened, she quickly peeked past him. There didn't seem to be much. A lump of fabric was positioned at one of the walls, and across the length of the tent were bundles of greens and flowers hanging along a string. He's a flower boy. Are you a herbalist? Are you a herbalist? Is that how you say that shit? She felt strange asking, almost guilty for looking into the private space, but her curiosity overrode her politeness, and Keisha seemed okay with her presence in question.
In a way, not fully.
What do you do then?
I am an alchemist.
Alchemist? Can you use magic? They stood there in awkward silence before Keisha glanced around and moved into the tent, turning to look back at her.
Come in.
As Alto walked past the threshold, he closed the flaps behind her. A light soon lit up the interior of the tent. The bundle of fabric had been a makeshift bed, and she now noticed a book next to it. Looking closely at the colorful assortment of hanging plants strung across the top of the tent, she felt slightly inspired. Even though she had seen some of the more common greens and flowers in the wild, when gathered together and with silent purpose, she appreciated their existence even more. I confused that with experience. Beautiful. This would make a calming painting, especially with the warm lighting bouncing off and creating a stark shadow. She followed the light, turning around and tried to memorize the scenery before her, and she locked eyes at Keisha. Suddenly, embarrassed by her enthusiasm, she looked down, putting her arms behind her back. Sorry, I like painting.
There's nothing to be sorry about. Painting is a learning skill. You must be very good.
Alto looked up, wide-eyed. No, not at all. It's just something I enjoy. He gave her a soft smile. Anyway, what do you do as an alchemist?
I do what all alchemists do. I collect samples, I study their properties, and I document my findings.
You must do a lot of traveling then, seeing all over the world.
The world is vast. I still have plenty to see.
Still. She looked down at her hands, realizing that she still held the vial Keisha had offered her earlier with a drink. She held it up to him. Oh, Changing her mind, she pulled the vial back. Oh wait, let me clean it for you. Is there water nearby? Keisha nodded. Placid.
Placid? Okay. If you listen carefully, you can hear the stream just a distance away. It shouldn't be too difficult to find. Just be careful. They could still be looking for you. Wait, before you go, here.
Keisha handed her a simple sheath knife that was attached to the waist belt.
In case you need to defend yourself.
Alto nodded, strapping it around her before leaving the tent. As told, she waited in silence as she focused to pick up the sounds of water. The faint but fast rippling of moving water caught her attention, and she walked into its distance. As Keisha had described, the stream was easy to spot. Alto waded over, careful not to slip into the dirt sides that bordered the stream. Crouching, she held the vial in the water, meticulously lifting it to dump out the liquid and putting it back in to rinse. After a few passes, she was satisfied and shook it, letting the excess droplets fall out. The gentle sounds of the flowing water relaxed Alto, and she decided to take a break next to the stream. How did she end up running into the law she once admired and had joined? She sighed, rubbing her temples. If I could go back. Ellis. Is that how you pronounce that? Why? Where do you go? Where did you come from? Where did you go? I did not know. How do you pronounce that? Elis? Elis. Elis. Alto's mind wandered as she stared onto the. I don't know how to do an Irish accent. Alto's mind wandered as she stared out into the water. She lowered her hand, dipping into the cold current, letting the water flow past her fingers. Near their homes was an active pond. The water was clear. Water plants populated the bottom, and a small school of fish lived within it. Shaded by the surrounding trees, it was the obvious choice to spend time at. During one particular warm season when they were kids, the sun high into the sky beamed heavily down, so hot that moisture from all nearby vegetation clouded the air. Sol, one of Alto's childhood friends, made the easy decision to drag Alto and Elis into the pond to cool off. "Take that!" Alto shrieked. "What was that for?" Sol had run his arms across the surface of the water, forming a wave in Alto's direction, hitting her in the face. "Got you." "That was mean." "It was just a joke, come on." Sol rolled his eyes. "It's not a big deal, we do this all the time." "But that hurt, my mouth was wide open." "Ugh, gross." As she spit out the remaining water, Alto saw Sol reach out to her out of the corner of her eye. Okay. When the splashing from Elis got close to them however, Sol stopped. As she looked up, she turned the opposite direction and started swimming across the pond. "Wait, come back here, you jerk." "Are you okay? I heard a loud splash and your scream." Yeah, I'm okay. You know how Sol is sometimes." Alto puffed her cheeks as Elis cleaned up the strands of hair away from her face. I know. Elis smiled as she finished. Alto returned it. I'm just wondering if that's how you pronounce your name. I'll just have to get him back. "Wait, Alto!" Ignoring the protest from Elis behind her, she swiftly chased after Sol. In order to surprise him, Alto took a deep breath, diving underneath the surface. But before she got too close to him, she breached the water, popped up with a splash. Sol spun around to investigate the noise, but it was too late. Accompanied by a great burst of energy, Alto whipped her arms around, creating a wave larger than the one Soul had hit her with. What? Before Soul could protest, Alto could see him open his mouth. Eyes widened in surprise. The water wave hit him, and he toppled over. Ha! That's what you get! She cheered to himself, and when Ellis finally caught up to her, she laughed. Ellis weakly shook her head, though her expression looked like she was fighting off a chuckle. As Ellis went to check on the resurfaced Soul, sputtering out water, Alto leaned into her back, letting out her body float. I checked it. I'm stupid. It's Ellis. It's Ellis. It's Ellis. What the It's Ellis. God dang it. I'm gonna say it like that now. The sun still shining bright above, she closed her eyes, letting the pond drift her along. Alto found herself on her back, and she pushed herself up. Will I need to travel across the lands to find you? Ellis? Ellis? Ellis. Ellis. I need a new plan. The guards took everything I had on me before putting me in the cell. She paused. Almost frantically, she reached around her waist. Relaxed when she felt the handle poking out of the leather sheath, she curled her hands around the wrapped grip and swiftly pulled it out. I almost forgot he gave me this knife. I can definitely make something for now. Getting up from her spot, she searched the surrounding brush for a sturdy stick to shape. She weighed every possible stick she found, picked one, and sat back down to sharpen one end of the stick. After making it into a proper spike, she continued fashioning the rest of the wood, smoothing out the jags and bumps. Alto admired her creation after she shaved the last strand of bark, standing back up to evaluate it. A few quick jabs and thrusts with the crafted weapon helped lift her spirits, and after checking on the vial, she decided to head back. Ellis. I'm still hung up on that shit. Not waiting to surprise the man if he was deep in concentration, she made sure to take heavy steps as she neared the tent. It was quiet enough, and she could hear soft steps inside. Keisha? A few moments of silence passed before the rustle of the tent fabric was pulled open in front of her.
Come in.
She handed over the vial after stepping in, and Keisha accepted it.
Thanks. How are you feeling?
Much better. He raised a curious brow at the sharp stick, but did not probe further.
That's good to hear.
Keisha had been busy while she was away, Alto noticed. There were fewer bundles of green herbs and dried flowers hanging on the string now, and filled vials were displayed in a row along the other side of the tent. The book that had been previously next to the makeshift bed was now spread open with dense writing.
Is there something you know or some place nearby where you can hide for a bit?
No.
I see.
His pod made Alto anxious. Would he kick her out now that she wasn't in any immediate danger? She raised her head to read his face. Contemplation showed on his face. In an attempt to sway any doubts in his mind, she pouted. Whether or not her actions worked, he seemed to understand.
Do you have any plans?
Alto nodded. I lost most of my things when I was jailed. I hope to visit the nearest town to gather supplies before I leave.
I need to head into town as well, as you can imagine, for my studies. It shouldn't take too long of a journey to get there. If you would like, we can go together.
Alto perked up. Oh, of course. Keisha looked around, focusing on the dried plants left. He grabbed two small satchels, handed one over to Alto. She peered inside, finding a roll of twin and small jars. What are these for?
Gathering materials for the road ahead, unless you would like the rest instead.
No, I'll help. You'll have to let me know what we'll need. He tilted his head in acknowledgement and turned off the lantern. For a moment, she felt silly holding her crafted weapon and placed it down. But when she reached the entrance flap that Keisha held for her, she looked back, hesitating. Going back, she picked it up and returned to the front where Keisha stood. Just in case. Without a word, he continued, and Alto followed right behind. Just like the stream, the fields where Keisha led her were nearby. Trees were sparse, but plenty of colorful vegetation and fruits thrived here. As promised, Keisha slowly pointed to the correct berries to pick, the right shrub to strip leaves and stems from, and the various reddish piles of soil to collect. He watched until she could correctly gather the materials, and she didn't mistake the poisonous bulbs. Wait, did I say blubs? Bulbs from the nearest. I'm sorry. That's a stupid mistake. Bulbs from the nearest identical ugly seeds, leaving her on her own foraging.
Blubs.
What a fucking idiot. Fortunately, most of the ingredients Keisha needed were within the same vicinity, and Alto didn't stray far from the man. While their pickings were strict and specific, Alto found the action of searching and gathering in nature to be fun. Huh? What was that? I could have sworn I heard something. Finishing up by tying the mint together and putting it in her satchel, she stood up. Alto hoped to see Keisha, but all in her view was the fields and the forest that stretched in front of her. Keisha? She took tentative steps to where she last saw the man, repeating her call. Keisha, where are you? There was still no response, but the rustling seemed louder as she continued to wander towards the forest. Positioning her makeshift weapon so the pointed end stuck out in front of her, her senses gradually spiked. Taking each step with caution, she listened to the sounds, attempting to find the source. Keisha! Whatever was making the noise was now in front of her, but the tall grass hindered her view of what it was. Maneuvering the weapon so it could be held comfortably up, and with one hand, she moved the tall grass to the side with her own arm. While she finally found Keisha, who was past the tall grass in one of the clearings of the forest, what stood in between them immediately jumped her heart. Keisha! The man turned around from his position but almost fell over. A male Vitar boar stood between Alto and Keisha. It was a big beast, standing up to Alto's waist. Like all boars, I'm not gonna say that word, it had 4 tusks protruding from its lower jaw, the 2 in the back much larger than the 2 in the front. And like all boars, the full-grown males were extremely territorial. Alto watched as it stomped its hooves to the ground, throwing its head berserk. It's gonna charge! Keisha, use your magic! But the man froze. The beast seemed focused on Keisha, huffing as it pawed the ground. Why isn't he doing anything? Keisha! The second calling shook him out of his stupor, and he quickly grabbed at whatever was closest to the ground. Small stones flew at the creature, and sprays of dirt littered the air in between the two, but the boar stayed, now angrier. The boar started to run. It turned, rushing back into the tall grass. Alto could hear it change directions back to the 2 of them. Alto went into the defensive position, holding out her weapon straight in front of her. Though tension bound her stiff and she didn't understand why Keisha wasn't using magic, she had to protect him. He had saved her from execution. Gave her a knife, his knife, without hesitation. She would return the favor. The boar burst through the tall grass, but Alto made sure she was ready. It came at an angle and her former night training kicked in. She stood her ground, pivoting on her back foot at the last moment so she faced the beast head on. And again, it spun to dodge the weapon point, veering back into the grasses. At the next pass, I'll mark it. The pounding of its hooves seemed desperate, wanting to hit its mark, but unsuccessful. Come out! On cue, it appeared out of the grass. Once more, Alto was ready. This time, when she pivoted to meet the boar, she took another step, thrusting the weapon open. The boar squealed, bucking back in an attempt to avoid the weapon, but Alto pushed, digging the weapon deeper into its flesh. It thrashed under the pain, a trickle of blood pouring out of the wound. Not wanting to kill the beast, Alto pulled out the weapon, but kept it steady right in front of her. Finally, the boar left. The sound of its hooves faded until all Alto could hear was her deep breathing. Lowering her weapon, she turned around. Keisha stood, wide-eyed, a hand over his heart, and in the other, a fistful more of rocks. He was gonna throw fucking rocks at the boar. What a bitch! His veil had fallen to the ground, now covered in dirt. What a puss! Are you okay? He opened his mouth to say something, but opted to nod his head instead. They stared at each other, though thoughts swirled in Alto's mind. Can you use magic? No. Oh. That explained his behavior and inaction before, but the simple confirmation so surprised her. Yet, with this one word, she felt a little less lonely in Gaia. Like, Gaia? Like, mana? Like, whoa. White man. Yes, come in. I'm gonna use my fucking mysterious voice. Yes, come in. Piro, how many lives did the explosion take? There were 37 of us who did not make it, my lord. Moreover, 50 of us were heavily injured. The healer, what is she doing? She's working hard to treat all of them, my lord. Wait, who's talking? I'm talking. You're talking, my lord. But there's only so much one person can do. Damn it. Damn that accused Thyan kingdom. Send us an explosive without any warning. Sir, this is a suggestion, but why can't we just go on the offensive with your magic and the Chrysamila, whatever that is? We could... That is out of the question. The Chrysamila is not ready yet. We would need to harvest the power of the blood moon. But we don't know when the next blood moon will come. I can wait. Even if it takes 1,000 years, I will see this project to the very end. The hooded man placed his hand on Pyro's shoulder. What a stupid name. But now that Subject 13 has escaped, I will need to rely on you, Pyro. I'm gonna say Pyro. Pyro! Only you can properly wield the final product. You're the only worthy weapon I have left. Yes, my lord. Ooh, mystery. Who the fuck? Chapter 2, A Field of Flowers. Okay. What a stupid name. Yawn. Alto stretched, rotating her shoulders in an attempt to ease the soreness. Man, it's real boring around here. My shoulders ache from all the action yesterday. I must be getting out of shape. Just then, Keisha emerged from his tent. Good morning, Alto. I hope you slept well. Morning, Keisha. Why is my voice deeper? Sorry, my manly voice. I slept like a log. Noticing that Alto was busy massaging her shoulders, Keisha returned to his tent and emerged with a cylindrical container. Here, use this. It's a salve to soothe muscle pain. Alto took the salve, applying it to the areas where it ached. The cooling sensation immediately spread through her muscles, masking the pain she had felt earlier. Staring at the pale-skinned alchemist once more, Alto recalled the shocking revelation she learned the previous day, namely that Keisha was not a magic user at all. Not all alchemists are magic users, I suppose, but still, it's quite a shock that Keisha was unable to use magic. To think that he rescued me from all those nights without having magic. I wonder how he pulled it off. But the fact that he's knowledgeable about so many things is amazing in itself. Guess it shows that you don't really need fancy magic to accomplish things in life. Thanks, Keisha. Why are you thanking me? I should be the one thanking and apologizing to you. You were just in the process of recovering, and I've exposed you to mortal danger again. Again? Furthermore,
I was so helpless I couldn't even protect myself and had to rely on you.
He breathed a long sigh, looking down at his hands in disappointment.
If only I wasn't in this body.
Keisha, I wonder if he has a physical condition or a certain illness. I'd like to ask about it, but I don't want to come across as rude. Should I ask him about it? Should I ask him about his condition, or should I ask him if he's like a little twink boy? Probably. I don't know. Change the subject. Anyway, if you want a personal coach to beef you up, I'll be more than happy to guide you. This chick is gonna make you a man, boy. Alto flexes muscles. Flex her muscles, evidently taking pride in her years of knighthood training. I'll get you in shape in no time at all. The girl struck a pose, but as if on cue, her stomach began to rumble loudly. Ugh, way to go, stomach. Who told you it was the right time for you to growl like that? Shut up, stomach. Keisha let out a soft laugh. I suppose Shreddy could weigh a little. Let's weigh a little. Let's weigh a little.
Come, I'll cook for you. I'll cook you some breakfast. And after breakfast, I like to give you a little present.
A present? You really don't have to.
I insist. It's the least I can do. I can do to thank you for saving my life.
A present? Huh? I wonder what it could be. I'm sorry for burping all the time. I have so much gas in me. I'm sorry. I'm so filled with gas. In my ass, anyway. Alto was surprised with the meal Keisha had made. Sorry, I get a burp in your ear. With how little he carried around, he seemed to have a knack at surviving. He had some fried eggs and prepared some broth, adding special spices to concoct this vegetable soup with some herbs and greens he also collected. Although it was a simple meal, Keisha had somehow magically made it better than any food Alto had tasted before. Or perhaps it was just because she hadn't eaten anything proper for days.
About the present. Here you go.
Keisha handed Alto a rectangular object covered in a white cloth. Alto gave it a little jiggle, now certain that there was more than one object inside.
Go on, open it.
Alto carefully unfolded the cloth, and her eyes widened in delightful surprise the moment she saw its contents. This is... How did you... Inside the cloth was a blank canvas supported by wooden beams, though the woodwork was not made by any professional. They held the canvas in place firmly. Besides the canvas, there was an array of colored pigments decorating the side of the wooden palette, accompanied by a delicate brush. Red, green, yellow, sienna, whatever color that is. I've never heard that color before. Sienna, maybe that's blue. They're all here. You even have blue pigment. That's crazy difficult to make. The girl whipped her head to Keisha. When did you have the time to make all of these? Alto stopped mid-sentence. She recalled how they had been collecting different herbs, flowers, and berries the other day. Keisha did not tell her what they were for, and Alto did not question the alchemist's intentions. But to think that Keisha had always had her best interests in mind, it even went through danger for the sake of making the pigments. Alto felt her heart clench and eyes water, sentimentality almost getting the better of her.
Is it not to your liking? I recalled you enjoyed painting, so I thought you'd feel better if you do something you love.
Alto wiped the tears brimming from her eyes. No, this is... She stifled a sob and tried to compose herself, but to no avail. I'm sorry, I'm just so happy, I can't put it into words. Keisha gently placed his hands onto Alto's hand.
There's no need to say anything. I'm just happy that you like it. Now, I'm sure there's a lot of things to paint here. Feel free to explore the area, but don't stray off too far. I don't want you encountering another wild boar.
Haha, of course.
I'll join you after I'm done with one last experiment.
Okay. Why is there a counter on the thing? Why is there a counter on the thing? I fixed it. Yeah. Alto stared at the blank canvas in front of her. It had been a while since she had done any crafts work. After all, her days were filled with training and preparation for her knighthood instead of focusing on her crafts. There was once a time when she thought of becoming a craftswoman for the rest of her life. Crafting, painting, and woodworking were all of her passions. But ever since Alice went missing, thank you, Alto, along with Sal, had made a vow to find her no matter what. Alto stopped her crafts then and did everything she could to find her friend. That was when she decided to join the Knights rank. Being part of the scouting division gave her the right to issue her own searches. But now here she was, in a field of flowers, holding a brush with a canvas right in front of her.
What's wrong? Is the paint not to your liking? I don't know much about art, but I try to make pigments out of various dried flowers and minerals. Although I'm uncertain of its quality with regard to painting, I can assure you it's safe to use.
Alto snapped out of her trance and shook his head. No, that's not what I mean, thank you so much. I didn't expect you to go this far, you know. You saved my life, and now you made these pigments especially for me. I can't thank you enough. Keisha threw her a dubious glance. It's just that it's been a while since I last painted. I fear I'll put your paint to waste.
Don't worry about it. The process is quite simple, and I can always make you more.
Keisha stood up from the grass patch and made his way to the flower meadow.
Perhaps staring at you while you paint will only make you nervous. I'll conduct some research on the flowers blooming around here instead.
He started bending down and examining the flowers, muttering to himself while making mental notes. Alto sighed. It's not that I'm worried about not being able to paint, to be honest. It's just I feel like I'm not supposed to be painting now, like Ellis is still out there, missing, and here I am, painting without a care in the world. Alto shook her head. No, I can't keep having these thoughts. Keisha is right. I shouldn't be worrying too much. Elis is a healer, and knowing of her invaluableness, no one can ever harm her. I'm gonna call her Elis from now on. She must be alive, somewhere. Alto finally decided to pick up her brush and mix her first few colors. These pigments mix well in water. Keisha could make a living by selling these as high-quality art dyes. Now, what to draw? Alto looked up from the blank canvas and gazed at the field of flowers that stretched endlessly in front of her. And there, in the middle of all the colorful meadow, was a pale-skinned alchemist, preoccupied with his train of thoughts. His sparkling, gold-hued hair was blowing in the wind at the same pace as the flowing flowers, his translucent shawl rippling in it too, like water. In that moment, all of Alto's worry suddenly disappeared, and her brush started painting it by itself, as if taken over by the goddess of inspiration. Ah, if only time stood still like this forever. I would love to stay here, just like this, in this field of flowers, just a bit longer. Fade to black, no fade at all, it's complete black. The lone alchemist stood in the open field with a leather book in his hand and ran his free hand across the dancing blades of grass. He had opened his veil, letting the wind caress his sun-reflected hair, and gazed into the rolling blue sky, the snow-white clouds and the multicolored flowers. His magenta eyes glistened, beaming, as if he had never seen such a sight before.
So this is what it's like to be free.
Keisha took in the fresh air, all of the morning dews, the earthly soil, the wind's fragrance.
What's that? This is called Zenas? What? Okay. You're right. They don't have a fragrance, but they are beautiful and all the same. Endurance in times of hardship, huh? Well, I happen to know someone who's the living embodiment of that message.
He chuckled softly, thinking about the girl who he had rescued, and who in turn rescued him right after. Finally, taking his eyes off the flowers, his eyes instinctively wandered to the distant glacial mountains. The Belahim mountain range. I nailed. No, I didn't. I don't even know what that. It was the largest mountain range of the whole of Gaia, serving as the natural barrier for the kingdom of Leicester at the far west, where dangerous snowstorms occurred on a regular basis. And to the north of the mountain range lay the abandoned Shai. Keisha shook his head, trying not to recall the tragedy that befell the poor tribe. He instinctively touched the leather book he always kept under his cloak.
Don't worry, we'll make it in time. I know I shouldn't be affiliating myself with her any longer, but she's whoever I want it to be. She's whoever I want it to be. I want her freedom. Okay, but I can't lose sight of my goal. Yes, Lilithol? Okay, fucking made up names. Soon, all of this will have to end soon.
It's a lot of made up names. Also, he has like very ulterior motives, so that was what I gleaned from that. Alto placed her brush down and stretched, feeling quite stiff from sitting too long. Looking at the fields, she noticed that Keisha was still examining the plants. I know the flowers are pretty and all, but he seems a bit too intrigued with the flowers. Let's sneak up on him and give him a scare. Oh, but first, Alto gathered a few flowers and twigs, twisted them around each other, letting her deft fingers handle the rest. Deft. Her deft? I don't know what that word is. Fade to black. Is that normal? Why does he keep doing that? Keisha! The alchemist turned around, only to feel something ticklish land on his head. He lifted the item up and realized it was a wraith. What is it called? Fuck. Made out of flowers. This is pathetic. But damn it. A wreath. There you go. I'm an idiot. There you go.
What is this?
It's a flower crown.
A flower crown?
As the name suggests, it's a crown made out of flowers. I would have made you a crown of silver or gold if I had the materials with me, but I think flowers suit you better. Because you're a fucking flower boy, twink flower boy. Yeah. Keisha examined the flower crown carefully. It was meticulously made, and it was clear that only a skilled craftsman with deft fingers, that word again, what does deft mean, could pull off such neatness. He put on the crown and smiled. Thank you. Alto had rarely seen the alchemist smile so genuinely, and honestly, it was blinding. Regardless, she stared agape at the scenery before her for a while, and recomposed herself when Keisha caught her staring.
Alto, do you know what these flowers are called?
Alto can only manage a half-baked laugh. She was never the type to study such a girly subject. Leave it to Ellis to name every single flower in existence. I'm not well versed about flowers, sorry. Keisha bent down and picked one of the colorful flowers. This one was bright pink.
These are called Xena flowers.
Xena flowers?
There is a myth that Xena flowers come from a distant land, a world much unlike ours, a world ungoverned by magic.
Wow, there is such a world? A world other than ours? Keisha shrugged.
Who knows? It's just a myth. So it's not real. Look at her fucking face.
Wow, the quality of the illustration. Okay. Keisha leaned closer to Alto, slowly reaching out his hand to touch her hazel hair. He tucked her hair behind her ear and gently clipped the flower between them. Sorry, it caught me off guard. Their fucking eyes are not adjusted properly. Oh.
You're just like the Xena flowers, Alto. Sometimes I feel like you're too far from my reach, too. Otherworldly.
Keisha.
If I decide to let you go, I know I'll never see you again. But it's inevitable.
He knew he should be pulling back now, especially after he decided not to affiliate himself with her anymore, but the moment had gotten the better of him. Perhaps it was the xenomagic at work. Alto can only stare blankly at the alchemist as he tried to decipher his strange words. His hands were still in her hair, and he had an unusual expression on his face, an expression she had never seen him wear. Alto knew he was smiling, yet his smile contained traces of melancholy, as if looking at her had stirred some of his most painfully happy memories. Keisha. See, the illustration does I feel like that's a different illustrator, holy shit. As if being snapped out of his trance, Keisha suddenly dropped his hand and turned away. Alto did not say it, but she somehow enjoyed the feel of his warm fingers on his head, and was disappointed his hands left so quickly. Keisha, if there's anything you need to let out, I'm always here to listen. The alchemist was silent for a while, as if thinking really hard, but in the end he can only reply with a smile.
That flower, it suits you.
And with that sentence, Keisha disappeared into the tent, while Alto stood frozen in the meadows, mouth agape. Did Keisha just say? She touched the flower in her hair and felt her face getting warmer. No one has ever told me that flowers suit me before. Those are reserved for dainty and pretty girls like Ellis. God damn it. Shat. Alto shook her head. Come now, Alto. Keisha was just being nice, and knowing him, he's probably just complimenting the flower. Plus, he doesn't seem to be his usual self today. I wonder what he's thinking when he's picking this flower, and when he said all those words to me. Alto picked the flower from her hair. Zenas. Huh. Zenas? Whatever. Dusk has fallen, but Zena's colors faded along with the sun's rays. Yet the night was not completely dark. The fire Kishna had set up crackling brightly, and fireflies hovered over the area, their warm glows decorating the fields like festive lights. After dinner, Alto continued working on her painting, eager to finish it before the day ended. She had felt guilty for not assisting Keisha with dinner preparation earlier, but the alchemist reassured her that he was more than capable of gathering food by himself. Finally, it's done. She put down her brush and let out a squeal of joy, eagerly waiting for Keisha to finish his daily experiments. Right on cue, the said alchemist emerged from the tent, bringing a hot mug of herbal tea with him. Keisha, you're right on time.
Oh, you're done already? That was quick.
You call on an entire day quick?
I had thought painters usually take a month or a year to finish an artwork.
Keisha sat beside Alto, handing her an herbal tea. Thank you so much. Anyway, complex pieces do take a long time to make, but it does depend on the artist. In my case, I got my muse, so finishing it was quick.
Your muse?
Lo and behold, I present my masterpiece to none other than Keisha the alchemist. Alto held out the canvas for Keisha to see, beaming as she did so. That's shit drawing. That's a shit drawing. Keisha was not Keisha was not someone who often appreciated art, but he could nevertheless see the amount of effort and delicacy that was put into this piece. Really? Looks like you fucking draw over Crayola marker. Like crayon, what the fuck? The azure sky was made with bold strokes. The blades of grass truly looked like as if dancing in the wind, and each flower was dabbed carefully. I'm sorry, this painting sucks so much it's making it harder to read. Those colors complemented one another. But the focal point of the painting was undoubtedly the figure in the center, the lone man with flaxen hair, gazing at the distant mountains in the trance.
Is that me?
Of course it's you. Who else could it be? Keisha had no idea what he was looking at. that he looked like that from Alto's point of view. Somehow, Alto had captured him looking wistful in that painting. This is for you.
The painting's for me?
Alto rolled his eyes. Well, her eyes.
I mean, he should be rolling his eyes. Really, this shit? Okay.
Come on, it's not unlike you to repeat a single word you just said.
I'm sorry. I'm just surprised.
Haha, what was that? You look like someone who's never received a gift before.
That's not completely wrong.
What? No way. But you're so nice. How could anyone not?
Thank you, Alto. I shall treasure this gift.
There was another melancholic smile on his lips, and Alto closed her mouth, deciding it would be best to avoid pressing him any further on the matter. That reminds me, Keisha has never spoken about himself. What his life is like and where he's from, he has never spoken a word about it. But to be fair, I haven't talked much about myself either. Or was he waiting for me to get comfortable enough to open up? Maybe that's why he went through all the trouble of making the pigments and canvas, all to make me feel at ease again. Well, regardless of his intentions, it worked, and I feel like I'm ready to face the truth. Keisha, do you mind if I ramble a bit?
Of course not. I'm all ears.
Alright then, let me tell you about my two closest friends, Sol and Ellis. Ellis, I'm gonna call him Ellis from now on. Fuck me. We grew up together, knew each other's parents, had silly fights and childish quarrels. You know, how friends always do. Sol's family came from a renowned family respected knights, and they wanted him to follow his ancestors' footsteps. But well, Sol being Sol. Alto shook her head, memories of the rebellious streaks coming back to her memory. He couldn't accept having his future controlled, kind of like me, honestly, and we spent days running away from our duties together.
Haha, sounds like you had a rebellious streak too.
I was the better one amongst the two of us, okay? Anyway, Alice on the other hand, she was always the level-headed one, keeping us away from trouble and making sure we're out of harm's way. She's smart, polite, beautiful, and strong. And she can even use magic. I dare say she's the best healer in Gaia. Gaia. Ugh. She was undoubtedly our village's pride and joy, and everyone's role model too.
Gaia.
I'm assuming it's kind of gay. I'm assuming that this protect's kind of bi. I'm assuming. That's an assumption.
She sounds like a great person.
Of course she is. But Alto's grip on the mug tightened. One day, she disappeared suddenly. We suspect someone had kidnapped her for her healing capabilities. Inborn healers are a rare breed, after all. It has been 3 years since I last saw her. Without Ellis, the glue in our relationship, everything just fell apart. Nothing was ever the same without her. Sol and I swore to find her no matter what it takes, but that was where we went our separate ways. I trained hard and joined the Xanthian Knights Scouting Division, hoping to attain a position high enough so I can collect as much information as possible about Ellis's whereabouts and warn my own search party. I don't know what Ellis is doing right now, but I know he's still searching for her too. He wouldn't have broken our promise.
So that was why you became a knight? All for her sake?
Yes, everything was to find Ellis. But as for why the knights labeled me as a criminal, she let out a heavy sigh as she recalled the dreaded memory. Do you know about the Chrismilla project?
Keisha nodded hesitantly.
That was the third person talking, by the way. Given how much of a hermit Keisha seems to be, I doubt he knows much about the project. The Chrismilla project, I'm gonna call it Chrismilla project, is an organization of scholars and mages from all over Gaia, whose research involves making magic accessible to everyone, even to non-magic users. They truly have an honorable purpose, But unfortunately, many kingdoms are against the research, including Zethian. Zeth. God damn it! Next time, I wanna figure out how to say that fucking name. Zeth. Zethian. No, fuck me. Sorry. Sorry. I'm sorry. These names are stupid. I suppose making magic accessible to everyone would only create chaos and destroy the hierarchical system that Zethian had built upon. That's why they're so against the project. You say Zethian Kingdom is in opposition to the project, but you seem to be an avid supporter of them, Alto. Haha, I suppose there's no hiding anything from you. You're right. Being a non-magic user myself, I see the allure of the Project Skull and wish to support them in any way I can, but that will never happen given that I've just blown up half their headquarters into smithereens. You what? How did that happen? Commander tasked me to deliver a parcel to the Chrysmala Project's headquarters. That already sounds mighty suspicious. I was suspicious of it too at first, but he insists that the parcel bore some good tidings, so I thought Zethian was finally taking a step to reconcile with the project. So you went, but let me guess, the parcel definitely did not bear those good tidings and contain explosives instead. It's that obvious, huh? There's no other explanation for half the headquarters destruction, after all, unless you had destroyed it with brute force. Now that I think about it, that might just be possible with your extraordinary strength. Hey, I'm not some brawny gorilla. Haha, I know, I'm just joking. But to have survived an explosion of that magnitude, you must be lucky to have escaped unscathed. Alto scratched her head. Honestly, I have no memories of surviving the explosion. As soon as I came to, I found myself at quite a distance from the explosion site. But yeah, now that I think of it, how did I survive? Maybe the gods were watching you and decided to lend a hand. The gods, huh? Alto gazed at the moonless sky, where the sky realm, the gods' dwelling, supposedly resided. Perhaps the gods did help me. She turned to Keisha. But maybe they didn't. You did. When they imprisoned and nearly executed me to keep my mouth shut about the entire matter, you, a complete stranger, rescued me from my death. And for that, I can't thank you enough. So thank you, Keisha. I owe you my life. Alto's eyes welled in gratitude as she said that. Perhaps the gods did take notice of her and had sent someone to rescue her, a soft-spoken alchemist who brewed the best herbal tea. Is there anything I can help you with? Maybe I can be your assistant, or your bodyguard, or... Calm down, Alto. You've rescued me too, so you don't owe me anything. But I really want to help you. And besides, I have nowhere else to go. Well, if you insist, I'll have to do something. I have to do something I might need your assistance with. Oh, what is it? I need to deliver something to the Hosira desert, you see, but there's a possibility that I might encounter some wild beasts along the way. Yesterday, you saw just how incapable I am of defending those monsters by myself. I may need a hand in helping me and keeping me safe. All right, I'll be your bodyguard then. I am an ex-knight after all. Alto pumped her fists in the air, excited at the prospect of a new journey with the alchemist. Thank you, Alto. But I need to be clear about one thing. Once you have accomplished me with the delivery, we will have to part our ways. You are not to follow me afterwards. Is that clear? Alto's jovial mood immediately dampened after hearing Keisha's stern words. Huh? But why? I cannot let you accompany me for personal reasons. Personal reasons? What sort? I cannot tell you. Oh, I see. I'm sorry. I suppose everyone has secrets they wish to hide, and that's just normal. Pushing him for answers would only make him feel uncomfortable, so I best save my curiosity for a later date. But I have to admit, I feel a tad disappointed that he doesn't trust me enough after I told him about myself. Does he still consider me a stranger? Altos tried to shake those thoughts away from her mind. No matter. My duty right now is to ensure Keisha is safe and sound. Perhaps I can figure out where I want to go and what I want to do along the way. Alright, so where's our first stop, Keisha?
Our first stop would be Al Shiraz, Port City. We need to restock on supplies, and that's the only way to to the delivery location in Ashoa Desert, where that is.
Ishirawan Port City, huh? Got it.